This year, we've been working with a number of all-inclusive resort operations. Some of them holiday destinations, but the majority luxury all-inclusive resorts. The kind of property where guests generally leave their wallet and their decisions with the hotel. They've been affiliated with premium brands, which of course brought premium expectations, and most were part of a multi-property portfolio, which of course amplifies our potential. But in almost every initial conversation, there was an assumption on the project. And that was for an all-inclusive operation like theirs, the majority of the upsides of technology that we might bring would have to be bound in efficiencies on the infrastructure. When we were assessing the potential value adds together with those operators and the other property stakeholders, the conversation would gravitate to energy savings through GRMS integrations and realizing technical building controls for front-of-house managers. The premise that all-inclusive meant no additional spend on site became a real blocker in how everyone approached the technology conversation. The types of value we could bring in guest experience, and food and beverage ordering, spa and wellbeing appointment bookings, the operator workflows and order management tools. These are all value adds typically associated with driving incremental spend. And because the all-inclusive model already has that guest money, the assumption was that the beneficial outcomes simply didn't apply. So ideally, I want to try and address this today, because the value of technology in hospitality is not solely derived from what a guest spends. And the reality of working in those all-inclusive environments is that we have something genuinely powerful to work with. You have guests on property for multiple days, no competing restaurants down the road, no reason to leave. That level of engagement with your guests is very good leverage, and the outcomes that you can drive from it go well beyond guest spend on property. It's worth mentioning, I'm no way discounting the value of energy efficiencies that I mentioned earlier. We work very, very hard to try and deliver those. But just as important is also the utilization of your resources, for example, or the forward planning of your workforce and providing them with efficient customer service workflows. Not to mention, there is still ancillary revenue opportunities. You still have affiliate event bookings, for example, and package upsells. And those guest experiences, well, they should be channeling more business to your portfolio and your brand. The value metrics that matter here were never solely derived from an increase in ancillary on-site spend. In all-inclusive, we can still deliver value adds that target metrics in the cost per occupied room. How efficiently can we deliver on that all-inclusive stay? The revenue per available guest, for example. How well can that stay convert to loyalty and return bookings? And then obviously your gross operating profit. How can that business actually manage to make more money across all of the stays? Our digital engagement has levers in all three. So why don't we try and run through a couple of examples? Let's start with demand distribution across food and beverage and how it might impact your gross operating profit. Let's imagine a 300-room resort and 4 inclusive restaurants on the property. 2 are overrun well into the evening and the other 2 are running somewhere below 50%. If you had a desired outcome to balance the utilization of these resources, but your tool set was a sign in a lobby and a mention at check-in, we should expect a low engagement and thus a low impact on those desired outcomes. But if instead we enabled a branded guest app, something that they could load onto their own device with no download, no friction, something that brought utility for the guest for the duration of their stay, well, on that interface, we can surface the real-time availability for all 4 outlets. We can incentivize a 6:30 reservation at a quieter restaurant. It's the type of utility for the guest that is confirmed to them in seconds and provides feedback, shaping your entire demand. Your kitchen knows what's coming, your floor staff reflects actual covers For a property doing 300 covers a night that no longer needs to overstaff by 30% to cover the unpredictable, it's a very positive outcome. Let's try a housekeeping example and how it might impact your cost per unoccupied room. Let's take an example. A guest calls the front desk for an extra towel. Front desk relates to housekeeping. Housekeeping dispatches. The dispatcher is conflicted by a do not disturb status that the guest forgot to do anything about. That's 3 people involved in delivering one towel that still may never actually get delivered. Put that request through a digital interface instead, where it routes directly to the right team, the guest gets a status update, and no one at the front desk needs to be involved. Well, at scale, across 300 rooms across a 7-night average stay, the reduction in staff hours spent on relaying coordination is significant. This would be your cost per occupied room delivering on the stay that you've already sold efficiently. And finally, what about that revenue per available guest? Obviously, the food and beverage may be covered. It's probably likely covered in those all-inclusive restaurants. But private dining, spa, excursions, room upgrades, these exist at almost every luxury all-inclusive. And of course, our tools will surface your revenue-generating ancillaries to your guests in a way that suits the property. But the real revenue guest conversion here in an all-inclusive is closely tied to the guest experience and what happens after checkout. Because for a guest who felt genuinely looked after, well, they're going to rebook, not just here. If you've correctly surfaced your other venues, they're going to be able to book at your other properties in your portfolio. They're also going to refer their friends, they recommend to their network. In luxury travel, a single referral inside the right circle is worth more than any upsell during the stay. Your property already brings in the guests. So next up is whether your infrastructure is set up to turn each visit into its full potential. If you're running an all-inclusive operation or managing a portfolio where the all-inclusive model sits, and you're asking where digital engagement fits into your infrastructure and your outcomes, do reach out. My details are here on the website and LinkedIn. I actually genuinely want to understand your property and your current setup. I want to work together with you on surfacing opportunities for added value through technology. I look forward to it.